Hey resellers, thanks so much for tuning in to today's video. Today I am turning reselling into a game, and I'm not doing it alone. This video is a collaboration with a channel I want to introduce you guys to because I think if you like my channel, you're going to love his. Another family-friendly reselling channel here on YouTube, and you guys are going to love this video. Guys, let's go on a thrifting scavenger hunt. Alright, so some time ago I was introduced to a channel that many of you may know. The title of the channel is Bama, Pickin, and Grinnin. And on the channel, John and his boys, Eli and Ari, they have an amazing time just thrifting. It's John and his two teenage sons, and they are a blast to watch, you guys. No, I have two boys myself, so John, you are at the top of the prayer request for all the reasons. These kids crack me up, and you can just tell how much time that they spend together, how much they genuinely enjoy each other's company. His channel is aimed at a nostalgic genre. It really is. John is a lover of toys, as I am. If you like nostalgia, if you like revisiting things of the past and things from your childhood, you're going to love his channel. I have a link to it down in the description. But let me tell you the basis of our collaboration idea. So I approached John and I said, man, I just love your channel. I want to tell my viewers about it. Let's get a cool collaboration idea together. And we bounced a few ideas around, and what we came up with was a thrifting scavenger hunt. So in this scavenger hunt, we decided that we would have 10 items that we had to go hunt for. I would choose 5 items, and then John and his boys would choose 5 items. So let me read you guys the list of 10 items that we came up with. Okay, we said the theme of the thrifting scavenger hunt needed to be nostalgia, because I really wanted to put a focus on nostalgia being what I just see his channel centered around. It's not all he thrifts, it's definitely not all he resells, but I just love the nostalgic vibe over there. So the theme of our thrifting scavenger hunt is nostalgia. So I wanted to pick 5 things from my childhood that I just feel like my childhood would not have been the same without. All right, so my number 1 item is Barbie. You guys see Barbie hanging out up here, and by the way, this Barbie needs some clothes. Poor girl only has a jacket. Let me just show you her real quick. This Barbie is so beautiful. I found her at the Goodwill bins. This isn't what the video is about, but I found her at the Goodwill bins, and look how beautiful she is. I can't even believe she was there. Anyway, she has this very vintage jacket, but that's all the girl's got. She only has a jacket. She needs some clothes. So I am watching a couple red and white striped swimsuits for her, or maybe like a really pretty dress or a pencil skirt or something. I need to find something for this Barbie. Anyway, and the other one up top, she is a twist waist Barbie with the angled twist waist. I love Barbie. When I was a kid, we would play the same Barbie game for days on end. We had these huge boxes that my grandma worked at Dairy Queen, and she would bring home these cardboard boxes, and they were just stuffed full of Barbie stuff. Number 2 on my list of nostalgic things was family. So I left that kind of wide open for interpretation. Thrift something that says family. Number 3 on my list was green. I had the worst school mascot you could ever have, the green wave. Like, what were we, algae water? Is that supposed to be threatening to someone? Like, we would go up against, well, one of our rivals actually was a camel, so they didn't have that great of a mascot either. But I mean, like, you can't go up against the Wolverines with a mascot that is algae water, like we were like pond scum or something. So I put in the word green because we were the green wave. I put in Nokia. I'm 35, so if you're a similar age, you will feel the nostalgia that is Nokia. And the 5th thing that I wrote was semi-truck, because if you've seen my video about the most expensive thing I ever sold on eBay, you already know my dad was a truck driver when I was a kid, and I remember how much I just desperately missed him so much whenever he would go, and because he was like an over-the-road truck driver. And but I just to this day have such a respect for truck drivers, and I think that they absolutely keep our country running, just transporting our goods all over the place. And anyway, semi-trucks brings great nostalgia for me, so I put in semi-truck. John gave me some incredibly specific things. He's like, is my list too specific, after he saw my list? And I said, no, I'm up for the challenge. I don't know if I was up for the challenge. He said little people, like the little Fisher Price little people, the older the better. 90s iconic wrestler like Macho Man Randy Savage or Hulk Hogan or Sting, or you know, someone that was like iconic. Yeah, 90s 80s or early 90s Saturday morning cartoon character. Now that one was kind of open to interpretation because he said it could be a toy, it could be a video, or it could be like a article, clothing. It just had to have something to do with the 80s or 90s Saturday morning cartoon character. This one says hair metal album. A cassette or vinyl is preferred, but a CD will work. Okay, 90s apparel, the brighter the better. And then he threw in a bonus sixth item, and he said that I had to find a cartridge video game and not allowed to be a sports game or a game show, because like those are the easier, you know, you might find Wheel of Fortune or baseball, but are you gonna really find the good stuff? So there's actually 11 things on the list, including John and the boys bonus item. Guys, they live in a bigger city than what I do. I explained to John one morning we were talking back and forth on Instagram about how small my town really is, and so eventually he was like, I get it, like you live on a dirt road, but really, truthfully, you're gonna see in this video on my thrifting footage me go to the same thrift store more than once in a week just trying to find these items. And he gave me a run for my money. I don't know if some of the things that I found even really will work in these categories. So what I want you guys to do is to watch my video, head down in the description to John's video and watch their video, and vote in the comments about who you think won this scavenger hunt, who won this challenge. And you guys, I don't know. Let's just cut to the footage. In this first clip, you're gonna see me thrifting with my husband, because I thought since John has his family helping him, maybe I need some help. Maybe I need a male perspective.
All right, so since he has his entire family helping him today, and he's got like beard power on his side, I'm bringing this guy with me. Drew's gonna help me hopefully film. I gave him a rundown of the list and I took a couple screenshots. So do we know what we're looking for in here?
I have no idea what I'm looking for in here.
We're looking for some nostalgic stuff. I remember Green and Nokia and Little People, wrestling, 90s cartoons. We're about to kill it, right?
Yeah.
This place is priced pretty cheap, so I'm hoping that we'll find some stuff that'll bring us good profit.
All right, guys, the first place I headed was over here to the board games. I always find nostalgic games, and I found this Game of Life. I probably should have picked this up for family, but I didn't. That one was definitely giving off 80s vibes. I'm looking for anything that evokes, you know, Saturday morning cartoon characters or wrestlers or anything like that, because I do find some WWE stuff, but not today. Some cool nostalgic games, but really nothing that's going to check a box on the list. So I looked at the sheets, because you can always find old cartoon characters in the sheets, and again, maybe wrestlers. I did find this really cool NFL pillowcase. This was from 1993 and definitely vintage. So that was a cool find. This is green. Maybe this would work for Green. You guys know I love pageantry, and I was hoping I could find an old 80s or 90s dress to use as my 90s apparel, but that did not happen here today. So I headed over to the shoes, again looking for 80s or 90s apparel, something that I could use and would still have a good resale value, but striking out. So how about stuffed animals? I have found some really cool vintage stuffed animals. This is just like a reproduction, My Little Pony. I dug to the bottom of these, but on this day, again, I just wasn't finding anything. The store was a little slim this day. I started looking through all of the small toys, looking for action figures, and oh my gosh, I found a wrestler. Here he is. But then I look at his foot and he says WWE or whatever, like the newer one is, and my husband said, no, that's not going to work. He's not 80s or 90s iconic wrestler, so I put him back. I headed over here, and let me just tell you, it was like a yard sale this day in this thrift store. I mean, there just really wasn't anything out that was checking the boxes. Comment below if you know what the name of that movie is. There just wasn't anything. I was looking for very specific items though, so maybe that's why. I decided to look in the children's books, because so many of the items on our list deal with kids, and still was not finding the characters that are on our scavenger hunt list. So books were a no also. Did find this Simply Fit board.
which I thought about getting for my house, but then I was like, I don't know that I would really use it. And my kids would probably just end up getting hurt on it, or maybe they would love it. It was $4. I left it behind, and I'm sure somebody else enjoyed it. And then there was this cool pool cover. Oh, I looked at the baby clothes, and I grabbed this bandana, excited to see if it was vintage. Open it up. It says made in China, and I put it back, and guys didn't even notice the ones underneath it. I got so distracted by, you'll see, panties, hoping that they were vintage panties. And don't worry, I did go back for those, and they were the vintage ones underneath. So VHSs are only $2 for $1 here, so we decided to look through those. Drew found some Harry Potter books that he wanted to buy, and no VHSs that were helping with the scavenger hunt. So I decided to look at cassette tapes, and I found one that should have covered the hairband category, because look at Dolly on this particular cassette. Just check this out. Girl has some hair. All of these cassettes on this day were from the 50s through the 70s as the artist, so none of them were going to work. So I decided I still needed to check off Nokia, and I went to the chargers to see if I could find a Nokia charger. Maybe not be able to find a phone, but I could find a charger. Checked the writing on all of these in this tub and just was not finding anything, you guys. This day was a strikeout, mainly for me. I did find 2 things, so I'll show you what those 2 things were.
Okay, so let me show you what I found during that first stop. You guys saw me pick this up, and originally I was not going to use it as part of this challenge, but then I got to thinking, duh, it's green. I picked up that really cool NFL pillowcase from 1993. So this side represents the AFC, and then this side represents the NFC. Isn't that so cool? Let me really let you take a look at this. And it feels very like 100% cotton. I don't know that I'm gonna get a ton of money for this. Probably somewhere between like $10 and $15. Hopefully plus some shipping, but we'll see. It is just one pillowcase, but it's really, really cool. There aren't really any football fans in my house, so this is definitely going up for sale. This is a pretty cool pillowcase. So that checks off something green. Also, while we were in there, and this is one of the items that I don't really know if it will work or not. So I actually got 2 different things for this category. Don't penalize me, all right? Bullwinkle. So I was like, oh my gosh, Saturday morning cartoons. Of course I grabbed Bullwinkle up. And then I got to thinking, when we got home, I said, wait a minute, Drew, I don't know. I think the decade is all wrong. I think it's from like the late 50s, early 60s, and we looked it up. It's from like 1959. But like, I remember Boris and Natasha and Rocky and Bullwinkle whenever I was a kid. So was it replays, or did they revisit that, or was it the adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle, or what? Was it just an old cartoon and it was on replays? Does this count? I'm not sure he counts. I got something else for this category in case he doesn't count, but he's really cute, right? So that's one thrift store down, and you're gonna see in this next clip, I head back to the exact same thrift store. You're gonna see the same items on the shelves basically, but now I took my youngest son because maybe I need a kid's perspective.
I am about to go pick up my youngest son, and I'm gonna have just a little bit of extra time with him after I pick him up before a track practice, and I thought, what better time? He and I could go to the thrift store together, again in keeping with family togetherness in thrifting like they do over at Bama, Pickin, and Grinnin. So he was with me the day that I found 2 vintage nostalgic Sonic the Hedgehog, no, they weren't Sonic, it was like Banjo-Kazooie style plushes for 50 cents a piece, and they sold for $75 each. So it was a $150 dive into the plush bin that day, and he was with me that day. So I'm hoping that he will be super good luck and be able to help me find some of the things on this list today. He's 4, so let's see what he can remember. Are you so cute?
Yeah.
Did you find anything cool over there?
Yeah.
What is it?
There's this, and the feet, and the girl doesn't have any feet. That's weird.
Okay, so we started looking at toys and we definitely were finding some vintage and nostalgic toys. Israel thought this one was pretty cool. And guys, it's hard to thrift with him. You just get distracted by those adorable little cheeks. And, you know, I have to focus and remind myself that I'm at work. He found that cool horse, but I couldn't get him to get on the horse. And so I wanted to look around and see if they had any more toys that they didn't have the few days prior. They did have some Barbie dolls, and I'll show you what the Barbie doll prices are here. I wasn't finding anything that was super cool. And those are the types of dolls that I really like to pick up, something that's out of the ordinary. So I did not get any of those dolls. I did look through that bin. Same stuffed animals as the other day, nothing new. So I started looking through the small toys again. And here's where I find the only Fisher Price Little People item that I found. This is the moment that probably cost me the scavenger hunt, because I found this Fisher Price Little People See and Say, and I should have picked it up. Here's Israel about to knock over and bust a mirror, and me telling him not to do that. And then I go to look at this vase, which doesn't have anything to do with the scavenger hunt, while he sits in this super fragile rocking chair that they wanted $75 for. So I definitely had to get him out of that quick, fast, and in a hurry. What'd you get at the store?
You see?
Let me see him.
Oh,
He wasn't on our list, was he?
nope.
No, but he's pretty cool.
I'm gonna list him.
You're gonna list him?
Yes.
Oh, man.
Guys, I bought one thing at that store and I hid it from Israel so that he didn't see it, and because he would want it, because you know it was a toy. But let me just show you. I found a little John Deere semi-truck. How adorable is this? And again, super nostalgic. It kind of looks like it belongs up there on the shelf, huh? This is ERTL, Ertl. I don't know if I ever pronounced that correctly, but it's a pretty decent brand for die-cast cars. This one does have quite a bit of metal on it. Obviously it doesn't have the trailer with it, but I think this semi-truck is really, really cool, and his smokestacks are intact. So yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna look up comps on this. I paid, it looks like 75 cents for this. Well, I still didn't find everything on the list. I headed out to another thrift store.
Another day, another thrift store. I'm at Hope International. This time drove a little bit south of where I live, and yeah, I'm gonna pop in here and see. Surely, with as much vintage stuff as they have here, this is a place that I found the toner cartridges before, and they have lots of vintage stuff. Surely I can find something on the scavenger hunt list, because guys, I've been searching, I don't know, since last Friday, so like 5 days or something, and I have found one item, and I don't even know if it totally counts. Okay, definitely started out again in the toys in this particular store, because that's where all of the nostalgic things, that's where I feel like I'm going to find them. I found this cool, The Life of Jesus matching game. Talk about family friendly. This was a pretty cool game, looked like early 80s maybe. And then I found these color forms, Mickey Mouse Playhouse, Mickey and Minnie color forms. I could not find a year on those, but I thought those were really cool. And I started looking more for nostalgic items, and this next thing that I found was so cool. This could have went for my 80s and 90s apparel, but I chose something else for that. But I did buy these little skates that you just Velcro onto your shoes. They were $3.50, and my 14-year-old son thinks they're amazing. Definitely look through the VHSs. At this store, they are $5 for $1, and I found a cool one you guys are going to want to see. Coming up in the next clip. I looked through the apparel because we need 80s and 90s apparel, and this store always, well, typically has some vintage clothing. I didn't find a whole lot, although it does look like I'm moving either into or out of this thrift store, because I found a suitcase. Check my next thrift haul if you want to see about that.
At that thrift store, I found something really, really cool. John said 80s hair metal, and he said vinyl or a tape was preferred. So vinyl or a cassette was preferred, but a CD would work. Well, I found something that wasn't on that list. So tell me what you think about this, because I saw it and I was like, I have to get that. So the VHSs at this particular thrift store were $5 for $1, and so I picked this up. That means it cost me 20 cents. And Def Leppard Visualize. So it's like a concert that they had on VHS. I don't know. It doesn't look like it really goes for a whole lot, between $10, $12 on eBay. So I got this hoping that it may fill the hair metal category, because I mean, what's better? Like, first of all, look at the hair. what's better than just hearing them would be visualizing them, right? Visualize. I don't know. I did find something else in this category that I'm going to show you. But while I was also at Hope, and I think you saw me pick this up, I got the Mickey Mouse Playhouse color forms, and I remember playing with color forms when I was a kid, you guys. But what is more Saturday morning cartoon than Mickey Mouse? I think that through all the decades, Mickey and Minnie definitely evoke a nostalgia unlike many other characters. So this is nostalgic. Color forms are nostalgic. Like, I think that this one does check the box if Bullwinkle does not. Mickey and Minnie here definitely check the Saturday morning cartoon box, because I don't care what decade you grew up in, you grew up watching Mickey and Minnie. Still didn't find everything at that particular thrift store, so I headed to a honey hole of a spot for video game cartridges.
I am just like continuously striking out in these stores, and I'm finding other stuff to buy, which isn't good because I already have a death pile. Scavenger hunt. Hunt is the appropriate word. Even the items I put on the list, I can't find. But I'm about to go to a place that I know for fact has a ton of cartridge style video games. Pretty much anything you could want. Her prices aren't really that great for resale, but you know what? I need the items on the scavenger hunt, and I like her, and I like to support her store, so I'm gonna go there next. Okay, when I tell you it's a honey hole of cartridge style video games, that's exactly what I mean. Cases and cases. If you're looking for the game, let me know, you guys, more than you can count. I wanted to look for VHSs, but guys, she wanted $3 for one VHS or 4 for $10 at this store. I like to support her store, but I'm not paying $3 for a VHS, especially not one that I can't resell for more. So let's go look at the cassette tapes, because those are only 2 for $1. And John says I have to look at this hair metal cassette or vinyl, and I think I found one right here that actually does hit the target. I'm not sure because I don't listen to hair metal and I have no idea what I'm looking for, but Meatloaf, like, doesn't that? Thanks a lot for throwing me into this realm that I am so unfamiliar with here, John. There are a lot of cassettes to look through, though. I'm going to be here for a while. Let me just show you guys how many cassettes are truly here. This store is like in a time warp back in time. So many cool electronics, and I really like to shop here.
Can you even imagine how many cartridges she must have in there? But guys, she has them absolutely priced at their resale value. I can't make money off of any of them. So I was careful to buy my favorite. This is without a doubt my favorite NES game from when I was a kid. My favorite. My sisters, well, if they're watching this, then they're going to remember me playing this. Star Voyager. Oh my gosh, comment below if you loved this game. I could watch gameplay now of this and immediately be taken back and feel nostalgic about it. I absolutely loved this game as a kid, which is funny because my dad likes what is it called, like Galactica or something like that. Like, he thinks that game is really cool, and the two are very similar, and I just loved this. Direct hint. I loved this game as a kid. So it's not sports and it is not a game show, and I definitely had my pick in that store of pretty much any game I wanted to pick from, and so I picked this up. Love this game. Okay, you saw how many cassettes that she had, and you saw me finding some hair metal ones. So let me show you the ones that I got. I found, okay, the first one was Meatloaf. I was born in 1985, you guys. I have not listened to hair metal or hair bands a day in my life. And so I don't really know, is Meatloaf, like, I think with Meatloaf, it's not a group, it's like a guy, that his name is Meatloaf, right? This says 1977 on it. Anyway, so yeah, I'm pretty sure that he had wild hair. Does this count as hairband? Don't worry, I got more just in case. Aerosmith. I am fairly confident that Steven Tyler and the guys had some really crazy hair. So I got this Aerosmith one. And then this one I know is hairband. AC/DC. This is AC/DC Live, and look at his hair. His hair is as long as mine, so that's metal, right? And then I found AC/DC Back in Black. I went ahead and got so many of these because I thought instead of selling them one at a time, I will probably just lot these up together, because I think if someone's buying a cassette and if they're into this genre of music, then they would probably enjoy a lot of them. Okay, and this last one, guys, I think is like quintessential. This is, it says 1980, I think. Yeah, 1980, and it is Queen. Okay, so I could tell you several songs that they sing, and I just think that this one is great. So these are all going to get lotted together and listed. I don't have a cassette player, so I don't have really any desire to listen to these myself. And again, it's not really my genre of music, but I definitely checked the box. I think between the Led Zeppelin VHS and these cassettes, I found that item, and it is not something I would typically search for. I paid up a little bit for this next item. This I do want to, I originally thought, yeah, that could be my 90s apparel item, because it's loud. It's not super vibrantly colored, but it is loud. But I ended up with another submission, but I still want to show you guys this item because it's so cool. I paid up because I think I'm just going to keep this. Look at this bag. This is super reminiscent of a Coach. It's definitely giving off Coach vibes, like a Willis bag. It has this long strap as well. This is so beautiful, guys. I just think that this bag is phenomenal. And you turn it on the back and it has a flap here. It unzips. I paid $8 for it, which is way more than what I pay typically for bags. And the brand wasn't something I had heard of before. It does comp out well on eBay. Brasciano original. Hopefully I'm not butchering that. But again, this entire vibe is again very reminiscent of a Coach, Willis, or a station bag, and I think I'm just gonna keep this. I think it is gorgeous. It's definitely giving off like Versace or Gucci vibes as well, with like this horse bit and you know, all of the medallions and everything. So I love this bag. This is bold 90s print. But during the pickup where Drew, my husband, accompanied me, I found one of these. And then during my very last stop, which I actually didn't film in there, I found the other two. And nothing is brighter. He said the brighter, the better for the 90s apparel item. And to me, nothing is brighter than gold, right? So I got... Let me just show you, because there's 3 of them. How could I find 3 of these in 1 week? I will never find one of these and not pick it up. I think these belts are phenomenal. Like, I'm gonna have to put it way up here because you can't see it. Anyway, they're amazing. I love these belts. I remember my mom having a metallic belt like this, like a fish scale type of belt whenever I was a kid, and I just thought it was the coolest thing ever. Look at this one. I don't know if this will end up in my store or not. Do you guys think this is as cool as I do? I have a couple belts like this listed in my store. So this one I got at that last stop, which was a Teen Challenge thrift store. Teen Challenge is an amazing ministry to help people break addiction. And so I paid $2 for this belt. How pretty is this? Nothing more 80s, 90s than a gold belt. And can you get any brighter than this? Like, neon's not going to be brighter than metallic gold. And then the last one is this one here. It's very similar to the first one, but a little smaller size medallions. Oh, I just love these. They were all 3 so similar too. Let me just show you all 3 of them together. So this is my 90s apparel. Probably way different than what John and his boys picked up or think about whenever they find 90s apparel. I'm sure they were thinking like neon colors and things, but I really love to seek out very specific fashion for different decades, and this is something I would still wear today. I do not think it's like a cheap nod at 80s and 90s fashion. I just think it is so cool. So I really love this. It's kind of like a little bit of disco bled over into the 80s, I guess. I don't know. Comment and let me know if you ever wore a belt like this, or if you remember your mom maybe, or your aunt or your sister having a belt like this. If I had been old enough to wear something like this, I probably would have. And I would have kept it in my caboodle. Gosh, I kind of hope... I hope my mother-in-law isn't watching this, because this is for her. This checks off the box for family, because I found a gift from my mother-in-law. So I found this gorgeous antique German skillet. Her first name does start with a D, so it has the beautiful D there monogrammed on it, and then look, it just opens up with the press of your thumb. This is so beautiful. I doubt anyone ever used anything like this. I think it was strictly for decorative purposes. It doesn't have a hook or anything, so it'd be interesting to see exactly how she utilizes it to decorate. But even if it's just sitting out, I just think this is so beautiful. Look at this. And when I saw it and that personalized monogram, definitely made me think of family. I love it when I find things with a family monogram or a family crest or anything like that on them. And the fact that this had a D and I would be able to give it to my own family member, my mother-in-law, just really spoke to me. So this fills the nostalgic vibe for me for family. I was still trying to check off that Nokia. They had some flip phones and they were $2 a piece, and what do you think I found but a Nokia? So it's not the old Nokias that we used whenever I was a teenager. You know, I sold one recently just like the oldest Nokia that we all remember, but this is kind of a newer one, and it came with a charger, which is great. So I got this for $2. It will definitely be for sale. I think this thing powers on. We powered on most of them that we got there that day. Yeah, it's gonna come right up and tell me, do you want to start this without a SIM card? And you guys could just remember. I hope that that brings back some nostalgia for some folks. Seeing an old Nokia phone starting up. I am actually to the last item. I have 3 items left and I am on my last item. So that means 2 of these items I did not find. Let me explain. Okay, so the last item that I was able to find, okay, had to get a little piece of washi tape. I feel better about that. But I found for $1 Malibu Barbie with tan lines, and her tan has practically worn off all the paint that is supposed to make it look like she laid out in the sun tanning. But you can see, like, I've covered her up so she's not totally indecent here, but you can see it's like worn off. And look at poor Barbie's face, guys. She needs a little bit of rehab, but I'm going to find a swimsuit for her. She needs clearly a bikini, and she's gonna go up here on my shelf also. So it looks like a child or an animal got a hold of her hands. What else is new, Barbie? Girl, you could not keep a manicure. Look at poor Barbie's hands. Oh my goodness, some child just mutilated them. But to me, she was 100% worth $1. Okay, she was only worth $1, but she's beautiful, and I don't have this Barbie, and so I really wanted her. I don't have a ton of Barbies, guys. This is literally the collection. I don't have a place to display a ton of Barbies, but I am looking for some Barbie clothes. So if you have any for sale in your store, definitely let me know. But I think she's beautiful. She's seen some better days. Maybe she's seen some stuff. Maybe she's been places, you know? This is how I'm gonna start doing my videos. Hey resellers, thanks so much for tuning in. Oh man, it's getting late, you guys. So what are the 2 items that I did not find? I did not find Little People. You saw me find Little People. I didn't pick it up. There were so many little things that I ended up picking up during this that I was like, I typically wouldn't pick this up, but I'm going to for the sake of this thrift scavenger hunt. But I did not pick up that Little People See and Say. I should have picked it up. That was the only Little People item that I found. I think that John had a hard time finding Little People also, so I hope that he didn't find that. That way I'm not the only loser that found, like, that had something on the list that I didn't find. But then guys, I didn't find any iconic wrestlers from the 80s or 90s, or 90s iconic wrestlers figures. I didn't find any. I found that one wrestling figure, but it was the wrong decade. So I don't know. I feel like even if he didn't find Little People, he probably found everything else on the list. I don't know if he found the bonus item. I did find the bonus item because I got the video game cartridge, but yeah, I don't know. So here's what I'm gonna do. I feel like maybe John won this. You need to definitely go check out his video and tell me if it's better. And here's what I'm gonna do. John has picked out some wrestling cards that he is going to be buying off of me as soon as I can pull out the duplicates and give him a price. And because I could not find a 90s iconic wrestler, I'm going to include something special in that box of cards. And let me just show you what it is, because like I have a 90s iconic wrestler item, but I didn't thrift it during this challenge. So I'm just going to give it to him because I think that him and his boys, if you've seen any of their videos, would enjoy it more so or just as much as anyone over on eBay is going to. Let me show you what it is. This is a Hulk Hogan nightlight. So this is pretty awesome. This thing, it's a little temperamental. It works when it wants to. Sometimes you gotta turn it a little bit here. But let me just show you Hogan's face here. Like, if that is not 90s iconic wrestler, I don't know what is. But this nightlight is, this is pretty daggum cool, you guys. So, to be, in lieu of being a sore loser and to show that I, no hard feelings because I think that John probably won this one, I am going to send him this little wrestler nightlight. I just think it's really, really awesome. And the brand is Street Kids, and it says 1991 Titan Sports. This is not a toy. So, John, I guess that means that you don't have to give it to the boys if you don't want to, because it's definitely not a toy. So, anyway, I hope that you guys had a blast watching this. Again, it was just really fun walking in the thrift store with a fresh set of eyes and looking at things differently than I typically would have, because those aren't really things that I would normally be looking for. I did find some other interesting items that I will have in a thrift haul next week, so definitely subscribe if you want to see that. Turn on bell notifications and you'll get notified as soon as I upload new content. I just appreciate you guys watching this so much. Definitely head over to their channel and show them some love. Check out their video. I'm gonna check it out as well, and vote and let me know who you think won this challenge. Thank you guys so much for watching. God bless you, and as always, treat your business like your business.